for today, and welcome to the launch stream for the test flight of the Olympia 400 launch vehicle. What you're looking at is the said vehicle, though the delivery is not completed due to this being an early test flight. We are currently roughly 12 minutes away from the launch, and we are currently fueling the main rocket. We started fueling roughly an hour ago, and everything is still looking good. We had to abort it yesterday due to weather, but thankfully this launch should be good since the weather team is saying everything looks fine. So right now we are just currently sitting around while we wait for the rocket to not just start up but also finish fueling, and we'll let you know when we're roughly 10 minutes away from the launch. Alrighty, we are now roughly 10 minutes away. Fuel loading has stopped for the second stage. Meanwhile, the first stage fueling is still currently happening. Everything is still looking good. And we're expecting at T-minus 5 minutes, which will be at 11:10 a.m. on Standard Time, to have the rocket start up. But then it'll start its guidance computer and get ready to fire its engines. Within 2 minutes, everything should already be up, and we will just be waiting for the fuel lines to be cut. With T-minus 1, everything being cut, we will just be waiting, or then everything in between that should just be waiting for it to launch. With at T-minus 5 minutes, the engines are going to start to spool up and hopefully fire, and then at T-minus 0, we're of course going to lift off. So yeah, as we've said a couple of times, the weather still looks good, the rocket is still working pretty well, and we are currently just waiting for stuff to be done on the rocket. first stage is now done. We are going to be starting up the rocket now to have its kind of computer and everything running by the time for launch. Unlike our other rocket, this does not have a retractable strongback, which means that there is 3 or 4 fuel lines, which are these long tubes. During the launch, you'll see those drop right before liftoff, or then you should be able to see the rocket take off. This rocket is of course a bit different, since it is more focused on less sorry, since it'll focus on more power than price. This means that since we're already expending it, we don't want to spend any more money creating a retractable strongback, stuff like that. But this one already works pretty well, so it should hopefully work. We are almost roughly 10 minutes away, not 10 minutes, 5 minutes away from the launch now, and everything is still looking good, thankfully. The rocket is currently starting up now, and we are now just waiting. I'll let you know in 2 minutes, 3 minutes when the rocket is mostly started up, or then it'll start its guidance computer. Away from the launch of the vehicle. Weather is completely green, and the rocket is already fully fueled, with the guidance computer almost ready to start up. Right now, we are currently arming the water suppression systems, which are going to be inside of the strongback, right below the engine, which means they may not be visible, but they are there, and their main goal is to suppress the water to stop any damages from the rocket on the launch pad. You can see, even though we're done with fueling, it's still slowly vaporizing, as you can see there. That's why we fill the tanks to roughly about 102%, so by the time we launch, most of the fuel that was in that 2% would actually be boiled off, which means that the rocket would be technically still fully fueled. Right now, the guidance computer should be starting up now, since we're at T-minus 2 minutes and 43 seconds. We are currently still monitoring it, and let's just hope that everything goes well and we don't have to report it. Shouldn't be an issue since everything still looks fine. I'll let you all know when it is roughly 1 minute away from the launch of the vehicle, or then we will hopefully see it launch. Right now the fuel lines are about to be cut. good, and the computers are all started up, and everything is basically ready for launch. Engines should be spooling up in about 20 seconds, and let's just hope that the engines fire correctly and everything goes well. We are currently at T-minus 30 seconds, which means we are very close to launch now. So I'm going to continue here until this lifts off. T-minus 20. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, engine start, 2, 0. There we go. We have a successful takeoff of vehicle. Everything is currently in the air. Which is on the side. SRB meaning solid rocket booster, which means that those basically fire. They won't stop firing until they eventually run out, which means you cannot control the throttle of it or anything. But anyways, you can see it there. It's a little bit on the left. We are hoping that that'll separate, or then if it does, that means that we should be approaching the stratosphere, which means that we should be getting hopefully close to space after that, due to the SRB being the most risky part. So to separate that, it should. Speaking of that, we have a separation of it. That means that we should hopefully get a higher chance of success. You can see it's starting to turn a bit more. This is completely normal with the rocket. And we are now just going to wait. We're going to try to get the onboard camera system to function, and we'll let you know if we get that to work. Successfully gotten the onboard camera system to work. We are currently looking at a view of the Earth, and we're hoping on separation we can have the camera system is going to be on the first stage, showing the second stage, hopefully separating and then firing. As you can see with our little fuel info panel, which tells us the power of thrust, the engines and the fuel left, we should be expecting a separation soon, where then the stage will fire, and then separate and then fire, and we're hopefully going to catch that with the first stage onboard camera. Don't worry, the second stage also has an onboard camera, so we are just going to wait till that separates. See there? Should have a separation. There it is. There is the second stage of the Olympia 400 vehicle. You can see it there. We have just had a successful firing. We're going to keep tracking on this one till we can't anymore. You can see it is already getting quite far away. So we are now just going to wait till we get the onboard camera on that, which should be roughly right now. See it there. So now this is where it's going to be a long ascent, mainly because this stage is more focused on efficiency, which means that it will take roughly 6 or 7 minutes to orbit. So in the meantime, we are going to keep the cameras on the second stage running. And speaking of that, there is the fairing separation, which means that the test payload, which is a simple dummy payload, should be exposed to the vacuum now. So yeah, we are just going to wait till it orbits. In the meantime, enjoy the onboard camera views on the rocket. As you see there, we now have a orbital display up. So once that circle gets around the bigger circle, then that means that we should be hopefully orbiting, but then we don't need to do any more burns or anything to get there, which means that we should be expecting a deployment, though we are going to be deploying it on the other termination line, which means we're going to be orbiting around the night side first. Everything's still looking good. The second stage, of course, fired great. And as of now, our telemetry is showing the first stage is currently burning up. I'm not sure if we'll find any debris from that, but just in case, we do have a team out there. we are now nearing the orbital insertion for the second stage. It should be happening in hopefully 30 to 40 seconds. You can see the green circle is very close to being around the bigger circle, which when that happens means that we will be orbiting. So right now we are currently just waiting around until it orbits. Everything looks somewhat fine, even though there is a slight decrease in power of the second stage due to a pump being gone, because we have 8 pumps for backups for mains, and while the main pump is out, which means that we're running on a backup pump, which means that it's slightly less power, but do not worry, we should still be able to orbit due to us being in this part of the mission. Speak of orbiting, that should be happening right now. We have a shutdown. This means that the second stage has properly orbited, and we are currently getting ready to separate the payload. We are going to end the stream here, and I'll let everyone know if the payload's separated on here somewhat later today, where we will be recapping everything, and I'm going to be talking about the plans we have with the future of this group. So I was the host for today's launch, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in,